Good morning, Trade Pros, and today we've got another video for you guys. It's Victorio from TradePro Academy, Trade Pros Junior Trader. Today we are going to dive further into our Forex course. So in front of me on my screen, we have what we call the currency strength chart. And this combines all the euro pairs, all the Japanese yen pairs, all the GBP pairs, all the Australian dollar pairs, Canadian dollar pairs, and Swiss franc pairs, and of course all the USD pairs. So what I mean by that is if we go into here and we hide all of them, but this first one right here, this is USD plus Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, euro, GBP, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, etc. So this is all of the majors combined with the USD right here, and this is the line graph it displays. Then we add this blue line. This is the euro with all the other pairs. As you can see, relatively move in a positive correlation, maybe not 100% positive, but it is a pretty positive correlation. Then if we add all the Japanese yen pairs, you'll see this red line. And surprise, surprise, it looks kind of inverse of the first two. Next off, let's add the pound, which looks kind of correlatory to the USD and the euro pairs. Then moving along, we add the Australian dollar pairs, which again, to a lesser of a degree, looks like a one-to-one with all the other pairings except for the Japanese yen pairings. We continue with the Canadian dollar, the green line, and finally, the Swiss franc, which is this pinkish line right here, faint pink. And what you guys might notice is that all the pairs other than the Japanese yen ones do have a more one-to-one correlation. So the magic of this currency strength correlation is to see which currencies are weak and which ones are strong. So if we see divergences or convergences, we can make better plays based on these divergences and convergences, not only in Forex trades, but also in other product trades, maybe US indices and whatnot, maybe gold, whatever correlates to Forex, guys. Let's start off with a little example here, pulling this back. So right in this cluster, guys, it may look a little convoluted right here, but what is to note is that most of the correlations start to decrease right here, led by the drop right here in the USD, kind of converging right here with the Japanese yen. As the Japanese yen start to trickle up, you can see the euro pairs dropping off here, the yellow line, which is the pound pairs, and then these kind of delusional pairs up here, the light pink, which is the Swiss franc, green, which is the CAD. They're still kind of up there while the other pairs are dropping off, and the yen is climbing. So that means these stronger correlation pairs here are the early indicators of a potential short, which could have maybe brought in some short bias into the Australian Canadian dollar and the Swiss franc. So unfortunately, the replay tool does not work in this instance, so we're just going to have to back test and pretend none of this actually exists here. Remember what we were talking about? We saw the Japanese yen climb, earlier pairs drop off, and then these late pairs came to join them. You see starting to bottom out here. The late pairs finally bottomed out. US dollar bottoming out, starting to increase while the Japanese yen starts to drop. Other late pairs join this rally. So that's essentially how you use this indicator here on TradingView. This is the Pro subscription. You just look for discrepancies. You look for potential divergences. So price can actually come back to converge. Right now, what we see is the yen hitting lows here, a few bottoms, a triple bottom starts to climb up, while other strong pairs are looking to diverge a little to the downside. They're all coming together in a convergence in this mid-range right here if we do see the yen spike up, while pairs such as the US dollar and the euro, maybe even the British pound, continue lower. We could see some shorts come in on these later pairs, which tend to be the Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, and Australian dollar. This rally could also just be led up by the yen and see the dollar drop off, which in turn we could see some euro and British pound short probabilities come in. As you guys can see right here, euro has been the strongest one. This is what we look for as well, which pairs are the strongest in these moves and which are the weakest. So euro right now looks to be the strongest one, typically not always the strongest one, not the biggest moves. Right now, it is at these tops right here, along with the US dollar and Swiss franc. British pound a little lower. When you see things like this, you have to analyze these moves and the discrepancies between each pair carefully here for a potential trade idea or whatnot. Right here, you can see in this instance very low lows from the US dollar and the euro right here, while the Canadian dollar, this green line, didn't quite hit the lows. But down here, you could see the Canadian dollar dropped off quite a bit. So Canadian dollar pairs may be decent shorts right around this level where the USD and euro stalled a little. It's good to look at this chart on Sundays and see what the pairs have done over the past week, what they kind of look like they're going to do for the next week. Right here, we can see big divergence from the euro and the US dollar dropping off. These rallies could be shortable on the US dollar, so maybe buy the euro, sell the US dollar right here in these little convergence areas after this huge divergence. Maybe continue to see a sell-off. We want to see the yen rally a little on this. So there's many different ways to use these. Again, like I said, look for the different moves in the currency pairs. Right here, you can see bigger discrepancies. They come and converge together. You want to see the yen react in the opposite way to all the other pairings here. If they start to converge and they all start dropping off, maybe yen could be a decent long opportunity, or other signals could be maybe the other pairs do turn depending on the US dollar and the euro, as they do seem to lead the charge here. One more movement to note here, guys, is that we can see right here in this little chunk, we can see these other pairs such as the pound, Canadian dollar, Swiss franc start to trickle upwards while the euro was already pushing higher. We can see the USD in a mid ground and the Swiss franc kind of pushing higher. Right where this yen topped out and started to drop off, we could see this rally led by the euro while the US dollar was kind of trickling lower here, but then found some ground and pushed higher. Right here, this is a perfect divergence case where the US dollar is kind of doing nothing while the other pairs are off their lows and euro is climbing higher while the Japanese yen is plummeting. So right here could have been a decent US long, US pair long. And remember, you can use this currency strength chart for other markets as well. Seeing strength in gold markets could affect the Australian dollar and other currency pairs. Other commodities, maybe energy sector, even US indices can affect these pairings. So if we do compare the S&P 500 here, you can see generally tends to trend with the US dollar to some extent. Right here, you can see a huge divergence between the US dollar and the SPOOs. You see the S&P 500 climbing up into these highs, US dollar dropping off. Maybe a little rally in the US dollar comes in to meet again with this. That means that euro will be pulled up. All of the US pairs, mainly the majors, will go up. USD versus all other majors could potentially come back to climb into these SPOOs. But for that to happen, you want to see a drop in the yen. So if we take out the SPOOs here and we add a comparison of gold, you can see right here gold dropping off. So as we know, gold has a positive correlation with the Australian dollar, but a negative correlation with the US dollar. So Australian dollar could typically follow gold's trend right here. We may be seeing something like that and the complete opposite of the US dollar pairs. So again, guys, it's important to look at these comparisons. They do contribute to the use of this currency chart, and this was Victorio from TRADEPRO Academy. I hope you guys enjoyed that little video. If you want to see more of this, we do go over this every Sunday in our market analysis live in the evenings. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching. Please give it a thumbs up, comment, tell us what you want to see more, tell us what you wanted to see more of today. Any feedback is good feedback. Again, we have our Forex course coming out mid-August, guys. Get excited. This little video to get you excited for that, hopefully. And this was Victoria from TRADEPRO Academy. Subscribe to the channel and ring that little bell so you get notified when we go live every morning.